There it is. We are live. Welcome, everyone. We're here talking NX22. We got a whole panel here. We'll go through soon to introduce ourselves. I think, Philip, you have our icebreaker for today.
Hey, I'm Philip. I'm the dumbest one in the room. But because my pressing concern for everyone today is, what is your favorite Halloween candy? I'm gonna start with Jason. Jason, what kind of candy are you getting into after Mischief Night in New Jersey?
Oh, you have to explain what Mischief Night is.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason. Go ahead and explain your strange Jersey lore.
Okay, well, I love Kit Kats, so
Okay.
like either the normal chocolate flavor or like the Japanese like matcha flavor. Those are my favorite.
Okay.
But Mischief Night is apparently like in the New Jersey area thing, where the day before Halloween, kids get up to no good and generally like TP other people's houses or trees and stuff like that, create a mess. I don't know where it originated, but it's a thing that
I
people do.
too grew up with this, Jason, in Connecticut. So yeah, maybe it's a New
Yeah.
England thing. So
I mean, it's all for fun and holiday cheer, I suppose. But that is Mischief Night. I will pass it over to Jack.
Like thinking back to like when I'm, because like there's certain things I prefer now, but I think as a kid, any of like the full size like legit chocolate bars, like Kit Kat, Coffee Crisp, whatever, those are good. I also want to go over things I don't like, but maybe it's too controversial. I don't know if it would offend anyone, but like, I don't know if you have in US. There's like licorice candy that comes in a wrapper, like a candy wrapper. That one really sucks for
Twizzlers?
me. No, it looks good. So the packaging is like orange, has like I don't remember, like a moon with a cat, like Halloween stuff. So it looks good. You open it and it's like licorice. You don't want candy corn. I also don't like candy corn.
Oh, what? Okay, I was with you with licorice because licorice is the devil's candy, but candy corn. What's not to like?
It doesn't have any
the
flavor.
corn syrup,
It
or
doesn't have any
the
flavor. Maybe I don't know.
it does.
It's okay.
It tastes like corn syrup. Like what kind of? Oh, it's because you're Canadian. Like all
Yeah,
red-blooded
yeah, that's
Americans
why.
love
That's
the
why.
taste of corn in all of its many forms.
Sure. Yeah. It's because I'm Canadian. I don't have that. I don't know.
You don't have that gene.
Corn-loving gene or whatever it is.
It's the acquired taste
Wait,
of high fructose
listen,
corn
we
syrup.
need to. It was very important to Americans to subsidize corn. So
Oh man, I love candy corn. I just had like a fistful of candy corn before I came on.
have you ever tried the corn
camera.
on the cob? Candy corn on the cob, Philip?
No, that feels like a step too far. That feels like gilding
Yeah.
the lily. We already have like the perfect candy. Why would we enhance it?
Anyway, that's it. I don't want to offend anyone else. Philip. So,
Okay.
Gregory, I guess.
Yeah, so
Gregory.
my preference are any of the non-traditionally shaped Reese cups.
Like the pumpkin,
Pumpkins.
The pumpkins,
pumpkins.
bats,
pumpkins
the
and
Christmas
bats.
trees, all of them.
Do you get mad that the actual candy doesn't look like what it looks like on the wrapper?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, that's fine. They taste good.
All right. Good.
I do think, especially the pumpkin ones, it's just kind of an amorphous blob. That's just
Yeah.
not a circle.
Yeah, they probably had like a good mold once, and just over time it gets worse and worse. I don't know.
I don't know what a soja bean is, but yeah.
So is that maybe soybeans?
Oh, like soya beans. Like it's
Oh, no.
Spanish? I don't know if that's what it is in Spanish.
I'm gonna break from conventional. I think my favorite Halloween treat is going to get groans. But any of you, when you were growing up, did you get like an apple?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Zach.
I have been listen. Yesterday, I went to the grocery store. I got the biggest Honeycrisp apples. They're like the size of your head. It's amazing. I don't get any trick or treaters, but if I did, I would give them one of these apples because they're amazing.
Number one, I don't think we do that anymore. I think we all decided
Yeah,
apples,
that's like
That's
The-
too easy to hide a razor blade in there. To get
Why
a
is
razor
it
blade
that
into like a
that's the
Kit Kat bar,
problem?
you've really got to work. But to put it into an apple, easy mode. Okay.
True.
But the whole appeal of Halloween is getting like a bunch of stuff that your parent, like when you were a kid, like stuff that your parents wouldn't buy. Oh, that has too much sugar. Oh, you can't have that. That's going to ruin your teeth. And then you go out for one night a year and you get all the stuff that your parents wouldn't buy. If you just asked your parents for an apple, they'd say, "Oh yeah, no problem. We'll pick them up the next time we're at the grocery store." Apples galore. Apples year round. You're not getting anything special. An apple on Halloween, maybe the worst choice. I thought someone was gonna come in here and say like a
Floss.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Let's go
floss.
to my backup, the toothpaste.
Ugh,
and
come
a
on, the
toothbrush.
toothpaste.
You need something. Yeah, there we go. I like this
Give
idea.
children energy drinks.
Take that, parents. We did
There's
have
a-
when we lived in Arizona, there was one family that they gave candy to the kids and shots to the adults. And that was appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah, we walked past a house last year that had like 2 coolers in the front of the house, and like one was like Kool-Aid for the kids, and the other one was beer for the adults. And I really appreciated that house. Thank you. It was like midway through the trip too, so it was like a nice little surprise, kind of powered you back on your way.
Very
What about you,
cool.
Philip? What's the right answer?
Thank you for recognizing my expertise in this particular arena. It's the Milky Way Midnight. It's like a Milky Way, except it's robed in dark chocolate instead of milk chocolate. Honestly, like a Milky Way Midnight is so much better than a normal Milky Way. It's bananas that we invented them in that order. Like it should have been a Milky Way is the one with dark chocolate, and then they like later invented one that was like the Milky Way Moonlight that came with like the milk chocolate on the outside. Best candy bar. And actually, I find it's better, like not in full size. I think its ideal form is the little mini ones, not the fun size. Fun size is too much. That's 2 bites.
Is
the
that
perfect
because
bite.
of the chocolate ratio?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
got
It's
it.
all. It makes it
Makes
like
sense.
1 bite. It's like I'm eating it. I'm like fulfilling my need to consume this entire thing. I don't have to worry about like holding a wrapper in my hands. I don't have to worry about chocolate on my fingers. It's like out of wrapper, in consumption. Yum yum yum. I'm enjoying this. It's gone. Where's my next one? Everything else you have to worry about, like your next bite, what you're getting on your fingers, where's the wrapper going. So yeah, Jack's right. That is the correct option. I'm honestly surprised nobody else came up with it. So it's like Milky Way Midnight S tier, Apple's garbage tier, and then the rest of you had some pretty good ideas. I like a Kit Kat.
Rude.
Reese's, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think peanut butter belongs in like desserts or sweet things. But that's, I'm willing to state that's an opinion.
So, yeah, I hard disagree there. I think there's not a place peanut butter doesn't belong.
I'm intrigued by this one comment. It's surprising to me actually that Japan hasn't been Americanized enough to have Halloween. So
We do have it.
oh,
I mean, they don't trick or treat, I don't think, but they do have like candies and I think bread. They have a lot of specialty bread and like 7-Elevens and other things. So it is Americanized. There you go, Zach. You'll be happy.
cool. Happy. Yeah, like James pointed out, we only organize these so Philip can vent. By the way, James, if you want to jump on here, I'll send you the link so you can jump on if you want to talk about self-healing CI, because that would be fun to talk about. But on that note, let's jump to NX22, which let me show. I just commented here. If you want to check out the blog post yourself, we're kind of going to go through this today. We have Philip here who wrote it. There you can see Philip's beautiful profile picture. I'm a fan.
Thank you.
Anyways, but we have here sort of the outline of everything that we've got. We've got the core team here, the leads, kind of Jason and Jack. So maybe Jason and Jack, and let's start with you, Jason. What is the biggest thing, if you could distill it down to maybe like 2 minutes? What does NX22 bring?
So NX22 is about us kind of going further into the polyglot world. We really believe that NX is like bigger than just web applications. So it really works best when all of your code is in the workspace. So bringing support for .NET and Maven and those things allows organizations to put more of their code into one workspace.
Sweet.
It wasn't quite 2 minutes, but I think
That's fine.
that is my point.
Even better. That's a better option. Jack, how about you? If you were going to highlight the biggest thing for you for 22.
I mean, like Jason said, also one thing to keep in mind is like 22 is not. I mean, there's a lot of things that went in it, obviously, but it's not like this huge release where so many things are changing. Like .NET, Maven are net new things. I mean, .NET not quite because there was a previous original plugin, but in terms of like the official plugin, it is new. So it's not like we're changing any NX features. We're adding like a bunch of new features to existing plugins. There's also a lot of cleanup. So Colin's not here. Him and James worked on a lot of the NX release changes that kind of clean up some things that we wanted to change, got deprecated. So it's a lot of those kind of things where we just started removing things that we no longer support, and we said we were going to deprecate. So part of that is that. One other thing that people have been asking for a while, and we got into NX21, is PAPM catalog. So that's number 5 from the top. So that's pretty cool, and we are, I think, we're not quite using it yet, or there's a PR for the NX repo. So for people who are not aware, the catalog allows you to kind of have the single version policy that we always recommend for folks, and just have them specified as a catalog somewhere. Can say like React at this version, different packages at this version, and then inside your individual package JSON, instead of having to make sure the versions are in sync, you just like say,
Oh, that's
the
neat.
catalog one. So it's a lot better, and now that the support for it, people have been asking for it for a while, so that's there. If you've been waiting for it, upgrade, and you can start using it.
That's cool. What did we have to change to support this, Jack?
There's a few things.
Yeah,
so one
I
is
imagine so.
migration, right? Migration, we can't just update versions inside package JSON.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Our generators also need to make sure they account for this, and then the way we parse the log file. Although I'm not going to speak for Leo, who worked on this. As far as I know, that wasn't really the complicated part. It's a lot of other things that would happen if you start using catalog.
Cool.
Yeah, we had to go through like everywhere where we try to get the version out of package JSON. And now we can point to things like, I don't know, like default colon or whatever, right? So like those don't get translated through like Semver, but they have to go through the catalog to find what that refers to and to resolve it that way. So there were like probably 100 different spots that we had to make sure it worked properly.
Cool. One of the things that stood out to me just from looking at the lineup was actually this right here. There's a whole bunch of breaking changes that come in with 22. And that's kind of expected for the major releases. That's kind of what we should save the breaking changes for. But the data back caching is now the standard. This one was cool. So I don't know if this was mainly Jason, you, or Jack that did this, but do you want to talk about sort of the change going for caching from just writing to disk to sort of this backend?
Can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in NX20, fact check that. I think it is true. In NX20, we started using SQLite for all different things. One of those being Dcache, and it sped up cache restoration quite a bit. And for a while, like we've been kind of holding off on making it kind of like everyone is using it. So we've had like 2 cache implementations, but now it is more kind of like less opt-outable, I guess. It's pretty stable now, so everyone should be using it if they can. I think like the one area that you cannot use it is if you're running on Wasm, but yeah, like this kind of opens up even more possibilities with SQLite. So among other things, like we have caching in there, we have some stuff to do around task scheduling, kind of like all the NX processes, checking the database for the source of truth, and then also things like flaky task kind of detection that is also in the database. So I think that the database is now pretty stable, so it is now kind of there for even more improvements coming to NX in the future.
I muted myself, but very cool. Is there still a way to force NX into using like the legacy cache at this point, or is that completely gone now, Jason?
It's pretty much completely gone. Yes.
Okay, cool.
So Jason, we have like a longer list of breaking changes than usual, and most of the time, like we try to avoid breaking changes by providing migrations for folks, right? Like if a configuration option changes, then we'll migrate that for you, and it's not really a breaking change. But especially since we've got like the core team on here, like what does the decision process look like when you're looking at like we're going to provide a migration for this or we're not, and here's the reasoning behind it?
Yes, as you said, like most things have kind of migration. So if we switch a config setting, say like, oh, well, in NX20, the database cache was kind of opt-in. So in that case, there was no migration needed. But eventually we switched the default. And at one point we did actually opt existing workspaces out of the database cache. So like those kind of migrations generally we will do. There's other kind of migrations which are harder to do. So things like upgrading to React 19, I recall, was like there's a ton of breaking changes in React. A lot of those kind of have to do with how your application should function, and it's not as simple as like maybe like search and replace kind of deal. If we don't find a deterministic way of getting it 100% correct, we will generally put it on the user to kind of handle that migration. And while that does mean that it involves a little bit more work to get those versions updated, we'll maybe in the future be looking into ways how we can kind of meet in the middle there.
I think to add to that a bit too, like React 19 is a good example. Other tools that have new versions, like in the past, there are attempts, I think, to try and do migrations. Like if you're using Webpack, for example, maybe we can migrate you in a certain way, but like we don't fully control the ecosystem there. So it's not our own plugin. There's a chance that even though we provide a migration, may not be enough. So our new approach right now is like we won't force you to go to the newest version. So like if VTest comes out or it did come out, we're not gonna update you right away. You're free to do it yourself, right? But we can do like if it's a new workspace, we can make sure we use a new version and our configurations are in line. A lot of like different frameworks have like their own ways to migrate, like their own guide, or it could be like a code mod. So like you could just use that rather than our own thing that isn't really under our responsibility. The other thing that helps too is like a lot of AI stuff could help. Like if you want to upgrade to say VTest 4 and there's like certain changes are breaking, you can get it to do that. But like us writing a migration to guarantee it's going to work before and after, like it's kind of hard for some of those things.
Yeah, I want to latch on to one of the things you mentioned there, Jack, was just the AI, or just using AI, I guess, to do some of these things has been it's something I've been exploring with. I've actually found our MCP servers are extremely helpful for like giving the context to the agents. I use Claude, right? So, but essentially had Claude migrate all my stuff from Jest to VTest, and just said, hey, look at all the test targets that from NX using the MCP server, and it was able to do it from that. like the context was pretty much all it needed. So that was cool. I know we added the new generator here to configure AI agents. I believe when we create a new workspace now, we ask this question up front too. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep, this is correct. So, I mean, the idea is that monorepos are good for people, and they are also actually good for AI because monorepos give AI kind of like all the context that they could want.
Right.
Just to a degree, it's like too much context. So, like if you just tell an AI agent to like look at Google 3 or whatever, right? Like there's not enough context window for that. What NX does is it kind of like compresses the context, right? So it'll like sum up your repo. So the same way that you can run like NX Graph and see a visual of what your workspace looks like, NX can do that the same way for agents. So if Claude asks like, hey, like I'm working on this project and I'm trying to get this functionality that I'm pretty sure like we've done like 10 times, right? It can go through the project graph and see like, oh, well, like, most projects depend on that same functionality. So it can kind of go and read that directory specifically rather than searching through, thousands and thousands of files to see which one it actually needs. I can like navigate through the map or through the graph and see where it goes. There's another capability that is, I guess, like you might have noticed that we also did, is that in NX Cloud, we're actually able to heal your CI. So the integration between kind of like a task runner and kind of like AI fixer is something that we think is kind of like in our kind of wheelhouse. Because we know like the granularity of things that fail, while some platforms can't get like a whole kind of script that failed, right? They don't know kind of where the actual failure is. NX is a more granular level to see like, oh, like this task failed, not like this command that runs, hundreds or thousands of tasks. So, also with the ability to check it, right? So like we know what failed, we can come back and say, hey, okay, this failed. Can you please find the fixes? It finds the fixes, and then it actually validates it by running that task again. So I will probably talk about this in more detail in a bit. But those two things, like we believe that an NX workspace is almost maybe like not reaching its potential without the use of AI.
Yeah, you mentioned like the MCP server does a good job of compressing the context. I find like it's more than just compressing the context. It's like it focuses it on precisely the thing it needs. And the NX data, I guess, already like the sheer data of the graph was already extremely valuable. But just highlighting how to like focus in on that data specifically and what that data means. I found that's been super helpful in my sessions. I was talking with Craig Reese. I've been hit or miss recently with a lot of sessions with AI, but the MCP servers from NX seem to always help. And also threw on YOLO mode for one of my side projects with self-healing CI. It is nice to just kind of throw things up and like just kind of let AI fix it, honestly. So yeah, that's been very cool. I did want to highlight one of the questions we got here. Jack, I know we had been maintaining a roadmap at some point. Is that still been maintained?
Yeah, the roadmap is still the from last year, which is for this year. Jason and I will come up with something. The thing we also are focusing a lot more, or continue to focus on, is like just general maintenance of our current features. Like we just got .NET Maven out there, so those are going to be adding to our maintenance time. So we may not have anything super big. AI is definitely one of those things that we can help out more. Like Jason said, there's more we can unlock there that can make like just, I guess, working in an NX Mono repo just a lot nicer. So we're only at the tip of the iceberg, basically. There's a lot more. We talked about migration a bit earlier. We have done a few things to help, but I think ultimately you could think about like maybe getting some AI assistants in there. Like we can have better docs for humans, but also for AI. Maybe like, hey, when you upgrade to this version, these are the ways to verify. So we don't know exactly what that would look like, but like those are all ideas we've been throwing around. We just don't have anything concrete yet. So I think there'll be more of that in 2026.
Cool. Sounds good. Since you mentioned it, well, like, it sounds like one of the big things from Jason too was the support for .NET. We do have Gregory here on the panel, and Gregory, maybe do you want to talk about your .NET plugin, the history of it, and what happened with NX22?
Yeah. So the .NET plugin initially was something I started before joining the company. It was a community plugin primarily led by me, and then over time, a few community members jumped on and were really impactful there. Over the last year or so, we made the decision to bring it on as a full-time plugin, which was exciting personally, just to see something that you worked on get promoted up. But it was a cool plugin before when it was a community plugin, and it got up to around 25,000 weekly downloads, which isn't small. We're hoping to go way beyond that now that it is a first-party plugin, so we'll see how that goes.
So this is the legacy one now, is that correct?
Yeah, cool. It is.
So how do I find it now? Is it just
at nx/.net now?
.net like this?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
I bet that's satisfying.
Yeah, it's neat to see the name change. The old doc site now has deprecation notices on it, pointing people to the new plugin and so on. It's been nice to see. And it's not just like a rename of the existing plugin. It is pretty much a full rewrite, which sounds scary at first, but it drops some stuff where, like I said, we started the plugin before I joined the company, which was before Create Nodes existed. It was before Process Project Graph was really finalized at all. So there was just a lot of legacy cruft in there and things that needed to be fixed up. So we dropped some features, but we stabilized the ones that remained pretty heavily. So we're expecting a lot less issues and a lot more stability. And I think we're set up for success there.
Cool. Assuming someone hasn't had the experience with .NET, do you want to go through some like the major features of the plugin?
Yeah. I'll share my screen real quick just to show what it looks like in a .NET repo.
Cool. Gregory, you've got fans. Oh,
I'm sure you can put it up
there.
There
We go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So this is the PowerShell repo from just like the Microsoft GitHub page for it. And I've stood NX up in here. You can see the only changes that were really required is that we added an NX.json file. These two small shell scripts are wrappers just to enable running NX easily if you don't have like npx on your global or anything like that. And then so we have our little wrapper file that is just kind of hidden away that you don't really have to worry about. So the only thing you really get config-wise is your NX.json. And I've installed the new .NET plugin here. In this repo in particular, I have to exclude the tools directory, or we run into some naming conflicts. We could also just, override those names if we wanted to. This is just kind of a quick way to get it up and running. And the only commands that we've ran to get to this point is we ran nx-init, nx-add at nx/.net.
Yeah,
and this we can start running things.
Just to be clear, this is not our repo. This is like actual PowerShell. Like
this is the real PowerShell repo
on all the Microsoft.
Yeah, like if I do GitHub repo view, right, this should pull up. Yeah, PowerShell.
Cool.
PowerShell/PowerShell. Anyways, so from here we can run whatever NX commands you would normally run. So we can run in /NX graph to open up the project graph, and we get straight into our normal graph. We can go back to flat and just show everything. And you can see we're picking up all the projects, all the dependencies within them, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
really
cool.
Cool.
Really cool.
Just connecting some of the dots. It would be really cool to just see this. Like, obviously, this could help with task running. This could help with CI. A a lot of stuff. Caching, NX gives you those capabilities out of the box. It's actually interesting to me because of the conversation we had about the MCP server. This is a cool way to give focused, structured context to a agent. I would think an AI agent. So
yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that it unlocks. Like I said, anything you would normally run via NX should work. We can click on a project. We can look at all of the stuff about that project. So we get our build target, we get a clean target, pack, restore, watch, etc. And these are fully featured targets. You can see like we even have the little logos where it's an official plugin now. That's something we never had as a community plugin. It's been neat to see it transition.
cool.
The mechanisms under the hood, like I said, they're different for how it's picking up the dependencies, but they should be more accurate and more stable. So
And
I'm
maybe
excited going forward.
highlighting one of the comments here from Sander, this has been something we've had from a lot of our customers is a very similar stack that they mentioned here. We see that out there pretty common. I feel like especially in the US, it's like you have Angular for the front end, you have a .NET back end.
Yeah,
So-
and then that's why I started the plugin before I joined, is that my previous employer used Angular and .NET. I feel like they go real hand in hand.
Yeah. Do you still have, I know at one point you had some support for like generating like front end, was it like front end clients based off the back end code?
Yeah, so the old plugin had a hand-rolled Swagger to TypeScript implementation. In the last major version of the community plugin, we had kind of deprecated that and recommended people use OpenAPI Code Generator instead, which is like a published, widely accepted thing to use instead of, the hand-rolled thing I came up with on my own. And this plugin kind of takes that a bit further. So the hand-rolled implementation's not there. We don't stand up OpenAPI Code Generator for you anymore. Basically, none of the generators that we had got moved over because we would prefer people use the built-in .NET tooling to handle that generation. So it sounds like we dropped a lot, but we're really just kind of standardizing on what .NET people already use instead of trying to do custom things. That's been a pretty big focus since Project Crystal for all tools. So we're kind of extending that here. We'll probably end up replacing that automated generation with a guide long-term for how to get that stuff set up.
So Gregory, for that workflow of like having like your .NET, API written and then generating TypeScript out of it based on like, Open API Code Generator, and then actually consuming that in an application. Can you talk about like how different that workflow looks like if you were like in a like poly repo approach versus like a monorepo approach with NX?
Yeah, so the biggest difference between polyrepo and monorepo whenever you're doing that kind of generation is that you don't have atomic commits with polyrepo. So with monorepo, if you're doing that kind of code generation, you know that every commit, the repo is type safe if it built, period, across languages, right? If you're polyrepo, you don't have that level of confidence in each commit, just because the CI checks aren't typically running cross repo. That is something potentially cloud could help with long term, but
Yeah. And I'm curious, like for folks who would have been doing this through a poly repo, I know that like at my previous company, we would run into problems of like we would start a new front end feature and we would generate TypeScript models based on what was deployed at the time. Like we would pull down the Swagger spec from the server rather than actually pulling it out of code. And inevitably it would turn out that, we at the beginning of the sprint, that was right. But then they deployed again at the end of the sprint and actually broke it.
Yeah.
How's that get better with monorepos now?
So like I said, if they're in the same repo, every commit has that type safety. You know that whenever you push it up to CI and it builds, it's validating that against the API as it is in that PR branch. So if backend has merged some updates and you rebase your PR, you're building against those updates all the time versus having to worry about what's actually deployed.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's a double-edged sword, right? Like if backend changes some types, they're going to get front-end failures in their build, but that's just alerting people of, hey, this change is breaking and making sure they knew it was breaking. And if it's breaking, they might have to, have some collaboration. I think it's a good thing, even if it's a little annoying.
Do you want CI to fail, or you want it to fail on production?
Exactly. It's going to fail at some point regardless. So it's just making sure people know. And like I said, yeah, front end might have to collaborate on something like that if you want it to not be a breaking thing. But collaboration amongst teams is a good thing.
There's your spooky Halloween surprise. Ooh, back end
People-
developers touching front end code. Front end developers touching back end code. Ooh.
Well, speaking of which, maybe good segue into one of the other major features here. So not only did NX22 bring in .NET support, also expanded Java ecosystem support. We already had a plugin for Gradle. Some of my clients have been using that, and it seems to be going well. We now also offer Maven support. So that's cool. That's kind of it did seem from my perspective, the Java ecosystem seemed to be like 50-50 Maven and Gradle. And so this kind of covers half. Do you agree, Jason? I see you like would you say 75-25? I'll defer to you.
I mean, I think it's different in different circles, but from
Sure.
going to several conferences, it's probably more around like 80-90% Maven. And I mean, Maven is a well established tool. So I think Gradle is over 12 years old. Maven was probably almost reaching 20 or something like that. And yeah, like I don't think Maven is going anywhere. So I'll show a little bit about what we've got for Maven. Share this. Alrighty. Can everyone see yet?
I'm
think-
getting it up still. Sorry.
Close out my
There we
browser.
go. You're up. now.
Alrighty, so we have this is actually the multi-module setup for Spring Boot, and I mean you'll see Gradle in here. Let's just ignore the Gradle for now. It also has Maven setup, right? So I can do things like Maven verify. Oh, I can't do Maven verify, right? And it'll run things through Maven. This is just Maven doing its thing, right? And now I can do npx nx latest init, and we'll see how this looks like. Demo gods, please. This is going to add nx to the picture, right? So it'll first generate the nx JSON and kind of two nx equivalents of the Gradle and Maven wrappers. So we're gonna ignore Gradle for now. You can pretend like Gradle doesn't exist in this workspace. This is our new prompt for setting up AI agents. By default, it actually doesn't have anything selected, so I can just press enter, and I'll skip NX Cloud for now. It's not too important for our demonstration here. But now, so we have the Maven projects listed out there. I can now do NX show projects, and we get 3 projects that are in this repo, right? I also do NX. We can do NX graph. And then we can take a look at these in the browser, right? So this is the simple Spring Boot application. We can go into here and look at some of the targets that get generated. And I'll skip past the CI ones. We have all the phases that Maven allows you to run. So things that you're probably familiar with, verify, test, things like that.
Yeah.
Have all been
Not for nothing. I feel like the UI alone is like really, really cool here, right?
Yeah, for sure. So like this is kind of the somewhat equivalent of this menu here in IntelliJ. So you can see the life cycle here and stuff like that.
For this project, Jason, is there a lot of like task dependencies? Would it be interesting to like see like the task graph, or is it pretty much flat?
Oh, it is not flat.
Okay,
So
cool.
if everyone is familiar with what happens when we run verify, and we'll take a look at that in the graph. This is the graph.
Whoa.
And there's a lot of different tasks here. So you can see like verify depends on each phase preceding it.
Okay.
This is how Maven lays things out. And then also, these are all for the application project. Because it depends on the library, it then depends on library install. So this is the Maven task execution represented as the NX task graph. And this enables NX to run the tasks using its more intelligent like distribution and caching and stuff like that. So this is the representation of that. Along with these, how can I go back to, let's see. Okay, so along with these, there's also, you know, all of the targets for each of the goals. So you can run those directly. For Spring Boot, it's important to show kind of like Spring Boot run. So this is a continuous task that you can use to basically run the same thing, right? This is how you would do it with Maven directly. And then the last set of tasks that were created are the CI tasks. So this is kind of like a complementary slash like like Bizarro kind of normal phase target. So we can see this task graph, which looks pretty similar, but you'll see the atomized tasks in here. So instead of running the kind of full suite on one machine, NX is able to distribute all of your different unit tests, integration tests across multiple machines, and also have like individual caching and flakiness for those tasks.
That's really cool. So we are, I guess the way we're looking at the graph, I was thinking was just a reflection of what's actually in there in terms of what Maven's configured. But it sounds like there's an additional enhancement on top of this with Atomizer. Yeah.
Correct.
That's
Yes.
cool. That's very cool.
And so this is a simple repo. I've done the same thing on the Maven repo itself. So this is kind of, we would be seeing Maven run with NX. So I can do NX show project Maven CLI. So this is kind of the entry point for the Maven CLI as the implementation of it. And you'll see a lot of the same targets. You'll see, you know, their tests in here just automatically inferred. And then I can also see like what the dependency structure is here. So we can see it starts here. You can see that it depends on the Maven core, Maven logging, and things like that. So just as we've been testing on the PowerShell repo for .NET support, we've been testing on the Maven repo itself for the NX support. So yeah, it's
Very
getting
cool.
better. It's still experimental for now, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping with a lot of feedback from people, it will kind of reach, let's say, like a good solid 1.0 kind of release.
Very cool.
I want to show like just how little NX actually adds. So I mean, I ran a command. It kind of showed you like, well, it showed you up here like exactly what NX did. So it generated 5 files here. One of those just kind of creating a git ignore into this directory. But so we can say like 4/5, and then the plugin was added here. So if I go to the NX.json, it's a very minimal NX.json. It just says, all right, we're going to use version 22.0.1 for NX, and then 22.0.1 for NX Maven. And we're going to use the NX Maven graph plugin here. And then if I look at POM.xml, the only update here is that it added a build plugin that we've written to integrate NX into Maven. So I can show it on the side here under plugins, say, what is NX? Well, NX contains 3 goals. One of those is the analyze goal. So this is what's under the hood of our NX graph analysis. We have created a goal in Maven for it to tell NX, hey, like this is what Maven has in its projects, modules, and tasks. And then these 2 are 2 goals that kind of manage the Maven session. So before and after running tasks via NX, NX will also include NX apply and NX record. NX record will kind of serialize the Maven state onto disk, and then NX apply will apply that state. So that's how we're able to reach parity, even though like Maven has an interesting session that it maintains during task execution. NX does not, because it's kind of like NX can send tasks over to
Yeah, we want it to be
machines.
distributable, right?
Yeah, so it is like the whole session thing kind of doesn't work too, like it's hard to transfer the session over to a different machine without kind of like one API that it's pointing at. So the way we did it is that we used the disk as the state. So instead of modifying the session and then having it lost once the command is done running, it's stored on disk so that it can be applied by other things. So yeah, I mean, that's a walkthrough of kind of how the NX Maven support works. It's really these two files, the NX.json and the pom.xml updates here.
Cool.
And all of this is just analyzed, over the POM XML. So this didn't change at all. And the idea for Maven developers is that you just keep on using Maven, and then NX makes it better.
Very cool.
So I'll stop it there.
Yeah, we had a question here from Yuri. Hey, Yuri, by the way. Yuri's the guy in all those thumbnails we were seeing before. But yeah, this is actually an interesting point. One of the things, so it's like with both Craig-Ree's plugin and the Maven plugin, it's like there's obvious, to me, it seems like there's obvious value that gets added right away. Jason, we kind of highlighted it with the atomizer. You can, the UI is good source of value right there. The MCP context, very cool. One of the things that was always a pain point for me, the junior developer Zach first getting started with Maven builds, I hated grepping through logs. Would it be possible to show like task running with the terminal UI with the project you were looking at, Jason? Or
ask and you shall receive.
Yay.
All right, let me get back on the stage.
And while we're doing that too, if anyone else in the audience has Maven pain points they'd like to highlight or talk about, let us know, because we want to do better with this.
I'll really just bring up Ghosty here. So we'll get a full screen view in its full glory. Okay. Go to the right directory.
Cool. Could you increase the size of your terminal too a little bit, Jason?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Don't worry, James. This will work. So I'll do verify application. I'll skip NX cache. And here we have it.
Oh, so cool.
And so we've made a few updates here. You'll see that, well, it's kind of hard to see, but let me do that again. As I kind of stay on the running tasks, it stays with the running task. So all the logs flash by. You see all the different stages. So instead of seeing like, one long terminal log for all of this stuff, we see just the logs for the test phase in here.
This was exactly what I was thinking of, actually, Jason. Was just, it would be so nice to have it segmented out. I was thinking actually in terms of NX Cloud, but the terminal UI being able to separate these out so you can just like select the different stage and see exactly what the output was. That's really cool.
So we have that. I can also show, sure, why not? After you shall receive, right? Give me just 1 minute. I need to find exactly where it is. Ta-da! All right, so this is kind of what you would get if you had NX Cloud setup, right? So this is running in CI. You can see kind of like a full analysis of how things ran. Sorry, this one is the one without DTE, so it's not as cool, but we would test that as well. Let me see. I hope this one has agents, right? So this one ran on 2 agents, and you can see each individual task being run there. You can see individual task results. So if there was a failure in, say, Maven API, you could go into maybe like the verify task or something, and then you can see the task output for that. Let me try to find a real
So just the high level view here. This is a distributed build using NXCloud with
Correct.
all the output here sectioned and searchable.
Mhm.
Very cool.
This also means that if you encounter failures for your Maven build, you'll also get self-healing CI for those Maven failures. So all
Boom.
that as well is kind of like the package that comes with NX integration. So yeah. Before I stop sharing, anything else you want to see?
You've exhausted all my desires, Jason.
Alrighty.
Real quick, I just wanted to call out one of our community members. So Tyne is an NX champion and an expert, and for a while now he's had community plugins for Spring Boot, Micronaut, Quarkus, and Ktor. So all of these really cool Java frameworks. He's been supporting those through community plugins. Recently announced on LinkedIn that those are going to be rewritten to use the new Maven and Gradle core plugins. So I think it's like really cool, like when the community builds on top of like what we're like already providing from the core team, and that's really what we want to see. Like experts within the community who know a lot more about like day-to-day Java development, coming in and providing that expertise in the form of community plugins. So check out our Gradle and Maven plugins. But also make sure that you're checking the community for what other people are already doing with those frameworks and that plugin.
Yep, Tyne actually had Maven and Gradle plugins of his own that I definitely used as inspiration when developing Maven and Gradle support. So big thanks for kind of pioneering this space, and my work is built off of what is the phrase for it? I stand on the shoulders of giants. Something
Yes.
along those lines.
Shout out to Teen.
So thank you.
We had seen, Teen is here in the chat too. So
yeah.
Cheers,
and
Teen.
So sorry I mispronounced that name, Teen.
I'm going to drop here the link to Teen's repo. Tina, I'm assuming it's still NX Rocks. If it's something different, let me know. But I'll drop the link here so folks can check that out. If you're interested in seeing all the stuff that Teen's done, I think it's very cool generators still, and especially with it building on top of the kind of first party support now. That'll be really cool to see that. I think that's one of the things we'd love, actually. Well, I don't know, maybe Jason, you have some thoughts on this, but it would be cool to have community give sort of opinionated generators on top of the core functionality that we've been building. So
yeah, 100%. There's only so much that the core team ourselves can handle. I think community plugins are the way for a lot of different technologies to get NX support. I would love if we had infinite resources and kind of like was able to just adopt technologies into NX. But it I won't think it's easy, but it's not that hard to write an NX plugin. We try to make that as easy as possible, both for the community plugins and for ourselves, actually, because we do want to provide first-class support, like first-party support for a lot of technologies with few people. Like, we try to make it as easy to maintain as possible. And I think that also goes into the experience of maintaining a community plugin. Like .NET was maintained on the side by Gregory for a long time. There's tons of good community plugins out there, like Teens. So make sure to check out our plugins page. If there's a technology that you're looking for that doesn't show up under our first party support, there very well could be a community plugin that works well for you.
very cool.
One thing I do want to add though is that just because you use a technology that doesn't have a plugin doesn't mean you can't use NX. So there are certain things that you get benefit from. So like a lot of the infer stuff with atomizer and stuff that obviously needs NX support, like from a plugin. But like for us, we even switched to the Astro for our docs, and there's no Astro plugin. We didn't write one, and it's not any different than like how you would do it normally with package scripts or whatever else you're doing. So Definitely you're not blocked, but if you do need something, you can reach out or search for a community plugin.
Yeah. Zach, if you could highlight the my last message. So we just recently did an article, a video, and a live stream about like levels of integration for technology. The focus is on Biome, but
Am I missing the message, Philip? I'm sorry. I'm not seeing it
it's in the
come up
live
here.
chat on YouTube. Is it not showing up in?
Last one I have from you is about teens still. Let me see.
Huh. I wonder if there's like a delay on the sync.
Yeah, I don't see
Um,
it in. I don't see it in on YouTube either. When it comes up, I'll highlight it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep
Well,
going.
so anyway, if you check our blog, there's a post on integrating Biome in 20 minutes, and we use Biome as the example. But essentially, like this applies for any technology that you want to use that might not be supported by a core NX plugin. Of starting very simply with like npm scripts, just like you would using the tool normally, and it goes into a little bit of detail of if you want to make it more like granular and apply to like individual projects. All the way up to creating your own plugin. So definitely check that out. If you don't see something that you want to see supported, check out that article, check out that video, hop in our Discord, see if other folks are already doing something with it. There are a lot of different options. Don't let this be a blocker for you.
Sweet. I still hadn't seen the comment come in, so I throw up on screen my own comment. So
That's
that's
wild. I'm looking at it
That's
with my
so
own
weird.
human eyes.
I'm
Network
sorry.
error.
Anyways, but yeah, me and Philip actually did a live stream on that a couple weeks ago too, so it might be worth checking out as well. Yeah, we did have a comment here. Just how does NX make money? Cloud services. Yes, so NX itself is free. The stuff that we've been working on, everything with NX 22, is it's freely available out there, open source on npm. The way we make money is through the NX Cloud stuff, and the line between NX, the open source tool, and NX Cloud is kind of more fuzzy just because of how integrated they are. But yes, our biggest clientele is large enterprise customers that hire us for larger contracts. But the two teams work pretty much hand in hand. In terms of like where the roadmap is. So we have our own roadmap for the open source stuff that Jack was talking about. But in planning those, I believe Jack and Jason, you are working with the cloud team and with Victor, who's kind of over all of it, to figure out what is it that all our customers need. And our customers in that sense is like there's the ones who are paying us, so obviously they get a little bit of a priority, but there's also like it's massive out there on npm now too. What are we at in terms of weekly downloads right now? I haven't checked in a while.
Weekly it's like 6 billion.
6 million, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, I see 6.4 last week. So yeah, that's obviously that's a sizable amount of folks that we see as customers as well. So it's figuring out how do we provide value to everyone? How do we make money on top of that too? It's important to keep the lights on. But
I'll throw in another thing that we have launched just recently, which is NX Labs. So NX Labs is our professional service program. If anyone is like using NX for the first time, or you've got like a really like complex setup where there's like more you could be doing, like the performance on CI could be better. You can reach out to us. Our engineers can step in, audit your workspace, tune your CI, and then help you implement some strategies to be able to speed up that CI and just make that development experience a lot better. So, if you're interested in that, definitely reach out to us. You can get to that through this. I'm going to put it in the private. Apparently I can't post links. I don't know if you like shadow banned me for my,
I think we need to add you as like an admin. You may be chatting
Yeah.
too much. The idea.
Listen, no algorithm is going to hold me back. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. But NXDev /contact/labs, you'll see a familiar face on that page, kind of walking you through what the process looks like, and definitely reach out.
Cool.
I'll make one plug too, since you brought up
Please.
labs. There are like when it comes to open source stuff, like giving that for free, that's like things that are useful for everyone. There are some things that are maybe not super useful for like smaller teams, open source, but like for larger teams, enterprise, whatever. There's an enterprise page you can go on. I think it's contact/enterprise. There are certain things that we already did, but there are also things that are coming up. So things like, hey, npm registry went down and now the CI is failing. Like we're gonna have an answer for that. There's a lot of things that are coming, like Docker layer caching and other things that we're also taking a look at. So if you are on a larger team and you need like very robust pipeline, you can also check that out. And because those things require like a lot of things that we have to pay for, now obviously we're not gonna give the platform for free, but in the long run, it does save developers a lot of time and also saves money. So there you go.
Very cool. Let me drop that in chat here too. The enterprise link. So yeah, you can check that out. We're running out of time. Colin had a really cool point here too. Just there's a lot of cool stuff. This was kind of with Project Crystal. I've seen this with some of my clients too. We're leading more into like having like customized plugins that are more opinionated. It's really cool to see plugins come in as a way of like like putting that opinions in a very succinct way, in a very like one file way, as opposed to touch every project JSON. So that's definitely cool. There's stuff we didn't get to today, but we're out of time. I've been chatting with Colum and James a little bit, so we're probably going to do a follow-up one here on NX release, just because we didn't get to that. And there's some cool stuff that came in with NX22, and James and I think Colum were the ones who work on that. So yeah. Thanks y'all for joining. Any last words before we sign off?
It's too early for Happy Halloween.
It's
never too
Mischief
early.
Night, right? You got the TP ready, Jason?
We've got 2 more nights till Mischief Night.
Okay.
It's like the night before Halloween.
Oh yes, that's right.
It's pre-gaming Halloween.
Well, I got the TP ready. Teach these South Carolinians what's Mischief Night's all about. Why is there a batter out there with toilet paper? Anywho, thanks y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks.